Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you're looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we're doing chapter 10 of a series of death. White Collar's fighting club was different from Grebor's gym in almost all ways. The structure was strict, with a schedule that needed to be respected rather than a suggestion of when one of the circles would be occupied. Partners were mandatory. Proper equipment definitely required. Definitely required. One of the officers at the precinct, an Ermine he trained with at the academy, had mentioned it to him when Trembor had commented on how he couldn't go to Grebor in case he'd run onto. Well, the wolf might like that, but it's into. The wolf. It was the one she went to. It was close to the precinct, and it did ensure Marlot wouldn't be there. Changed into shorts, combat boots, and gloves, he strolled through the listed fighters, looking for anyone not currently with a partner. The downside of being strict was that on days when he couldn't schedule a partner ahead of time, he might not be able to train. The odds were better later in the day for unassigned fighters, but he preferred training before work. This early, the list didn't have many people on it. 2 couples and one solitary tiger named Kadar. He found him by the counter drinking out of a water bottle. He wore shorts and combat gloves and had a kind of body that shouldn't be covered up any more than it had than that. Lean muscle under the short stripped fur, marred only by a round scar on his collarbone. Kadar? The tiger looked him over and smiled. That'd be me. There was a hint of an accent in his voice. You're not matched with anyone on the schedule. Are you waiting for someone or open to any partners? I'm waiting for a lion of my own, but he should have been here a while ago. He gave Trembor another look. I can take you in his place. Milady, he said to the mongoose on the other side of the counter. Put Trembor, he told her. Trembor as my partner. The tiger said, Teak, and bloody wait his turn for not being on time. He headed to a ring. Trevor following close behind. How do you do this? With a warning, I'm no good at holding back. A real fight is what I'm looking for. I'm not prey, but no claws. He indicated the tiger's uncovered feet. Birth defect, he replied. No claws. You can check, but milady tails, my milady talls, did clear me. I guess we've evolved beyond using those in a hunt, so it doesn't put you at a disadvantage. The tiger gave Trembor an amused smile. You could say that. I can still kick as hard as anyone else. You prefer style? I'm all over the place with fighting. I'm a kicker, but I like training against someone who can surprise me. Trembor's chest tightened at the memory of Marlot's unorthodox fighting. But before it could overwhelm him, the tiger threw it a punch. He blocked reflexively and kicked out, catching the retreating tiger on the side. Fast little bugger, the tiger said with a grin as he launched himself at Trembor. Experience got his surprise down, and Trembor threw himself to the side as the tiger flew through the previous occupied space. Trembor rolled into a crouch. You weren't kidding when you said your fighting is all over the place. I don't think I ever saw someone pounce within the confine of a ring. Can't let can't let can't let tight place cramp your style. That'd be asking for death. The tiger ran at him, and Trembor blocked and dodged fist and feet until he had a space for a roundhouse kick, which met air as the tiger rolled back onto his feet. What would you do if someone started ordering you about? Trembor asked as they circled each other. He closed the distance, almost planting a foot in the tiger's chest as he opened his mouth. Trembor had to give the tiger that. He was fast. The tiger was back on his feet. You asked to distract me. Punch came. Trembor dodged. Are you interested in my opinion? Trembor staggered at a knee connecting with his side. Interested, he straightened. Sparring helps me think. The tiger paused. You've been in strange fight. Don't know anyone who likes talking while fighting. He covered the distance in 2 steps, and a volley of punches came at Trembor with a few words muttered in something he didn't understand. Need to know if the person doing it is a commanding officer first. Trevor blocked and managed to connect with a kick. Boyfriend would be mate. You into that stuff? Trevor froze. He didn't leave me any choice. The lion's golden eyes glaring down at him. Trembor's blood on his knuckle, falling down the stairs. He told the medic when he'd gone down to the hospital hours later. No, Tremble snarled when he pulled himself back, surprised the tiger was still at a distance. Kick his ass. He waited for a second. You good to keep on? Tremble went at the tiger angrily. I did, but I can't stop wanting him. He kicked and kneed, and the tiger mostly blocked. Tremor even threw a poorly aimed punch, hoping to surprise the tiger, but it was caught, and Tremor was on his back. Love'll do that to you. Kill him and pay the tax, since you can do that here. Tremor launched himself at the tiger with a roar. He needed to rip the male apart for suggesting such a thing. Spill his gut all over the floor, roll in his blood, make him regret. He hit the mat hard, enough his breath left him. Real bad letting emotion distract you like that. The tiger offered a hand and pulled Tremor to his feet. You tried talking? With him, not me. How the fuck am I supposed to do that? He lies. He told me he loved me and then did exactly what Gorek did. Blamed me for hurting me. How am I supposed to believe one fucking word that comes out of his muzzle? The tiger winced. You should rip his spine out, a new voice said, since you can do that here. Trevor rounded on the speaker, a new lion with paler mane and a similar accent, but thicker. The tiger grabbed Trembor's arm to prevent him from jumping. T, where you been? He looked at the Trembor until he nodded to indicate he had his anger under control. You weren't here, so I've been trying on this one for size. Might replace you with him. Like a hyena jumped me. He shrugged. Had to show him the error of their way. Did you kill any of them? The tiger asked, sounding worried. That the lion had managed to take on a pack of hyena and walked surprise and pack of hyena and walk. Surprised Trembor enough, he almost missed the implication. They were visitors. And where they were from, and they were from somewhere where predation wasn't the same as here. I wonder where that was. He'd have to ask Arazik whenever he was back from the latest trip his mate had taken him on. They'd know what place had different predation rules. You know better, Kay. The lion grabbed the tiger's face in both ends. As for replacing me, he whispered, pulling him close and kissing him hard. The moans that escaped the tiger and lion hurt Tremor. He and Marlot had kissed like that. He wanted to kiss him like that again so badly. Maybe the tiger was right. You should give him a second chance. He had sounded reasonable, even apologetic at the crime scene. You didn't leave me any choice. Gorex always sounded apologetic afterward. Could be downright nice and loving for a few days. Just long enough, Tremor almost forgot being hit. He straightened his resolve. He promised to never put himself through that again. Afraid you gotta keep looking for a partner, the tiger said, panting. I'm keeping this one. His scent indicated exactly what he intended to do to the lion, and seemed utterly unconcerned that others could smell it. Trevor blinked the forming tears away. It's okay. I'm not looking to replace anyone. Just wish I had what you two do again. The lion opened his mouth, but yelling from the entrance kept him from saying anything. Out! The mongoose was on the doorway. Predators only. She blocked most of who she was addressing, but Tremor saw a long ear. I don't care if you think you can take on one of us. No prey in here. Too much cleanup when you get gutted. Go to your gym and leave my customers alone. He saw Gray walk away, and she stayed in the doorway a few seconds before returning to the counter. Harsh, Lion said. Just 'cause they're not like us don't mean they can't fight. The Tremor eyed the lion, definitely not local. Maybe a search on the network would give him places where prey got this kind of quality. Prey don't know how to fight. Whoever that was, they're probably looking for someone to end their life, and that isn't something the owner should have to deal with. The tiger and lion shared a look, then shrugged in unison. I'm going to let you two fight, Trevor said, suddenly feeling like a scavenger eyeing someone else's meat, and headed for the locker room before they could respond. He spent a long time under the shower, just turned a little too hot to get the sight and scent of that kiss out of his head. He punched the wall. Why? Why did Marlot have to be an abuser? They'd been so perfect together once he'd stopped being terrified of people finding out about the two of them. Had that been an act? Couldn't be. He shook his head to clear it. No, it hadn't been, he decided. Maybe it had kept the abuser side in check, and once the wolf had shown him where he came from, the abuse Marlot had undergone, he'd grown comfortable enough. The abuser surfaced. Drummer growled. Why couldn't Marlot have been the simple, broken male he'd seemed like? Trevor had looked forward to helping him heal from the abuse. He knew about it. He knew about abuse himself and could have helped him so much. He missed Marlot. Missed him so much it hurt. And he hated himself for thinking that maybe the abuse the wolf would inflict on him wouldn't hurt as much, since he knew so much about being abused himself. Abused too. And that concludes chapter 10. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the whole story as well as the other books in the series, they are available on all major e-retailer. If you're looking for a different way to support me, that is on my Patreon, where you can also get access to just about everything I've written. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.